Hello, my name is Chris and I'm a U-Haul hitch professional. Installing a hitch on your Mercedes GLC 300 can lead to some amazing adventures, such as biking, camping, or road trips to your favorite destination. You can even tow a U-Haul trailer just about anywhere in North America. Now let's take a look at how I completed this install. You will need the following tools or supplies to complete this installation. Begin with the cargo hatch up so you can remove the tail light access panels. Use a trim panel tool if needed. Remove the tail light electrical connection by depressing the tab. Use a small pencil screwdriver if needed. You can now remove the tail light's 3 fasteners using an 8mm socket and an extension. It may be helpful to use a magnet to help retrieve the fastener so you do not lose it. Use a trim panel tool to remove the access cover. You can now gently remove the tail light. The bolts and 1 bobby pin are keeping it in, so we just need to pull it away from the vehicle. On the passenger side, it may be convenient to make clearance by removing this tie-down hook. Use a small screwdriver to open the cover and expose a T40 Torx bit. You can remove this trim insert with a panel tool. You can now gently pull some of the clips out of the upper section of the trim. Go ahead and switch to a smaller extension. Pull the trim away to gain access to the fastener. You may find it easier to remove the electrical adapter after we've taken out the tail light. I know it was for me here on the passenger side. We will now begin removing underbody and wheel well fasteners. Let's start at the 2 that are center here. They are inside and hard to see, and you will need an extension and a 10mm socket to remove them. Behind each wheel, you will find 2 more 10mm fasteners and 1 trim tool that you will use a trim removal tool to get. Now repeat for the other side. Inside the wheel well, remove 3 more trim fasteners. The next 2 fasteners are harder to get at, so let's first remove this fender trim to gain access to those trim clips. Now peel the trim back and expose another 8mm fastener. You can now move the wheel trim out of the way, exposing another push rivet at this location. Now repeat for the other side. We're now ready to remove the bumper fascia. You may want to grab yourself a second set of hands to assist. In order to release the clips, it may be efficient to reach inside and push up on the tab so that we don't break any while we peel it away. There's one right here, there's another right here, and the third one right here. Apply blue masking tape in order to protect the vehicle finish. You will find 3 more fascia tabs inside the taillight cavity. Once you have detached past your first tail light, repeat on the other side. Gently lift up on the fascia to help release the tabs because we can't get a tool in there. Here on the driver's side is the wire harness we need to disconnect. You can now unclip the wire all the way back to the passenger side where it enters the vehicle body. In the center, you will find 2 connection points that are with an alligator clip You can use a small flathead screwdriver to pry these away from the plastic. You can now remove the passenger side harness as well. Once the wire harness is clear, you can set the fascia aside for reinstallation later. In order to gain access to the flange nut on the opposite side, we must lower our exhaust and remove the heat shield. First, let's support it with a strap. In order to remove this fastener, you will need a 12.3/8 socket. Second bolt on the opposite side. You can now lower a third rubber isolator using exhaust hanger pliers. We can now lower the heat shield by removing several 8mm fasteners. We will now temporarily remove the bumper beam by removing 4 flange nuts, 2 on each side, using an 18mm deep well socket and an extension for ease. Save these flange nuts for reinstallation. The bottom flange nut can be found facing inward. You may want a flathead screwdriver to help pry this away from the vehicle body. You can now place the hitch onto the vehicle. Now replace the bumper beam and secure it with the factory flange nuts. You can now tighten and torque the hardware to the manufacturer's specifications, which I will link in the description below. Again, use your 18mm socket. We're now going to make a small trim to the heat shield to allow the receiver to fit in this location. We just need to measure a 3.5-inch section using the hole as the center line. Use your tin snips to trim out a 2-inch section of this heat shield. Trim off any sharp corners and use needle nose pliers to fold in any sharp edges you can't cut. You can now work the heat shield back into position over the muffler. Now replace the 10 heat shield fasteners and tighten them back down with the 8mm socket. You can now place the exhaust back into position. Insert the exhaust hanger bolts, lift up on the exhaust to relieve tension. Now plug the electrical harness back into the bumper so we can return it to the vehicle. Now hide the wires in their intended grooves along the bumper fascia. Gently lift the fascia into position. Before clipping in any side clips, we have to address this top row of clips first. You will want to push down to ensure they lock into place. Make sure you hear clicking. You will likely need to stretch this corner into position, and you can then seat all the tabs along the way. You can now return all the fender and wheel trim fasteners. You can now return the tail lights. Be sure to click in the electrical harness first. Push the tail light into position and re-secure with the 8mm fastener. Now return the tail light trim, making sure we pass this behind the fascia. Push the trim back into position. Reinstall the cargo tie down. Now that our hitch is installed, we've pulled the vehicle onto level ground to show you some important measurements. This is a 2-inch hitch receiver. From the pinhole to the end of the bumper is 5 inches. From the ground to the top of the inside of the receiver is 13¼ inches. These measurements will help you determine the necessary length, rise, or drop of your hitch accessories like a ball mount, bike rack, or cargo carrier. If you have any questions about the products seen in this video, or if you'd like to schedule an installation with your local U-Haul hitch professional, please visit us online at uhaulhitches.com. You can even download the U-Haul app using the link in the description for even more ways to manage your hitch and towing needs.